When you think about it, our homes are getting pretty smart these days.
Uh-huh.
Lights, speakers, those robot vacuums bumping around.
Yeah, it's definitely changed things. But it feels like we're on the edge of something more, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something that goes beyond just, reacting when we ask.
And that's really where my interest has peaked lately. This move from devices that just follow orders to, well, agents. Things that can maybe anticipate, act more on their own.
That is the perfect lead-in, because today we're diving into exactly that, Amazon's new thing, Nova Act.
Right.
We saw this piece in Forbes that got us talking. It's this new agentic AI system they've unveiled.
And it sounds like it could really shake up how we interact with tech at home, potentially quite fundamentally.
So for everyone listening, that's our mission for this deep dive. Get our heads around Nova Act. What is it really? How is it supposed to work?
Yeah, and what could it actually mean for our day-to-day lives? Plus, what are the big questions we should be asking? The important stuff.
Think of this as your quick guide. We'll break down the core ideas, see how it stacks up against maybe tech you already use.
And look at both sides, the cool possibilities and maybe some things to watch out for.
Okay, let's start right there. This term, agentic AI. What does that actually mean in practice? Not just the buzzword.
Right. So agentic AI is
Yeah.
basically AI that's more proactive. It doesn't just sit there waiting for you to type a precise command or ask a very specific question.
Mm-hmm.
It's designed to take initiative, to manage more complex tasks, maybe multiple steps, to reach a goal you've set.
So less what's the weather and more like, hey, I need to get to the airport tomorrow morning by 7. And it just figures it out.
That's the idea. Yeah, it figures out traffic, maybe books you a car, sets your alarm, handles the details. Current AI often needs you to break it down, step 1, step 2. Agentic AI, like Nova Act aims to be, can handle more of that complexity itself. The Forbes article specifically mentioned things like booking trips, making online purchases, managing your calendar, your to-do lists. These aren't simple commands.
No, definitely not. And the article mentioned something that really stood out to me. It can supposedly take control of a web browser, a bit like ChatGPT operator.
Yes. And that's potentially huge.
How so?
Well, think about how much we do through a browser. Ordering stuff, paying bills, research appointments.
Pretty much everything.
Exactly. So if an AI can actually navigate websites, click buttons, fill in forms, it could automate a massive chunk of those everyday digital chores for you.
Like a true digital assistant that doesn't just understand, but acts.
Precisely. And Amazon was quoted directly in the Forbes piece saying Nova Act will be capable of booking trips, completing online purchases, and managing calendars and to-do lists. So they're aiming high from the start.
Wow, okay. It suggests, like you said, a shift. We tell it the outcome we want, not every single step.
That seems to be the vision.
Now, Amazon's obviously been in our homes for years with Alexa. How does Nova Act change that game? And what about competitors?
Good question. So, Alexa. Yeah, it's everywhere. But often, let's be honest, it's used for fairly simple things, right? Timers, music.
Guilty. Mine's mostly a glorified kitchen timer.
Yeah, many people are the same. The interesting thing here is Nova Act isn't like a totally new gadget. The plan is to integrate it into Alexa, an upgrade.
Ah, okay. So it's like giving Alexa a brain transplant, almost, making it smarter and able to do things.
That's a good way to put it. Bridging that gap between just understanding your words and actually executing tasks. This could make those home assistants way more useful.
That makes sense. The Forbes article mentioned some others, like Operator and Manus.
Right, but it noted they're more like research previews at this stage. Nova Act seems to be in a similar early phase,
But
but
as Alexa,
exactly, it's being plugged into this massive existing ecosystem. Millions of homes already have an Alexa device. That's a colossal advantage.
yeah, you can't overstate that built-in audience. The article also kind of touched on the limits of current assistants, like Alexa or Siri. They're not great at, like, back-and-forth conversation or complex jobs.
No, they often lose context, or they can't easily jump between different apps or websites to get something done. Nova Act is aiming to fix that by combining that conversational smarts, like you get with ChatGPT, with the power to actually interact with all those online services. So it's both smart and capable.
And how does this compare to what, say, Apple or Google are doing? The article mentioned Apple Intelligence and Gemini.
It shows different strategies, really. Apple seems focused on weaving AI deeply into its own devices and software, that walled garden approach.
Right, the Apple way.
Google's Gemini is maybe more of a standalone, versatile chatbot. Amazon's Play is clearly leveraging Alexa and the smart home dominance. They're betting that putting these agentic skills into that familiar voice assistant is the fastest way to get people using it.
And apparently, it might be pretty good. That TechCrunch report mentioned in Forbes.
Yeah, that was interesting. It suggested Nova Act actually performed better than tools from OpenAI and Anthropic on some specific agentic AI tests. Now, these are benchmark tests, early days, but still, if that holds true.
That could give them a real edge. Wow. Okay, so let's talk benefits. The convenience factor seems huge.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine just delegating all that tedious stuff, plan me a weekend trip to the coast, order the usual groceries, find and book a plumber for this leak.
Yeah, freeing up time, mental energy. That's appealing.
Definitely. Less time wrestling with websites and schedules.
But there's always a but. The Forbes article brought up the pitfalls, too. Let's get into those. What are the main worries with this kind of AI living in our homes?
Well, cybersecurity is a big one, right off the bat. Any new connected device, especially one with this much potential access, is a new potential vulnerability. Securing these things has to be top priority.
Makes sense. And then the P word, privacy.
Yep. We already worry about smart speakers listening. Now imagine an AI. It's not just listening, but actively learning your routines, managing your purchases, accessing your accounts.
It knows everything.
Potentially, yes. It would need a lot of very personal data to work effectively. So how is that data stored? Who sees it? How secure is it really? These questions become even more critical.
It's like the existing smart speaker privacy debate, but on steroids.
Kind of, yeah. And beyond that, the article touched on over-reliance.
Ah, right. Like,
Yeah.
if we just hand everything over to the AI, do we forget how to do things ourselves?
It's a concern. Does it make us less capable, less good at problem solving or making decisions if the AI handles all the routine stuff? It's a balance we'll need to find.
And one last thing mentioned was AI hallucinations.
Ooh, yeah. That's a tricky one.
We know chatbots sometimes just make stuff up. What happens when an AI that can act hallucinates, books the wrong flight, orders 50 pizzas instead of one?
Exactly. The consequences of an AI hallucinating when it's supposed to be taking real-world actions could be much more serious than just getting a weird answer from a chatbot. Ensuring accuracy and reliability is going to be absolutely vital.
Okay. So wrapping this up, it feels like agistic AI in the home with Nova Act kind of leading the charge from Amazon is, it's potentially massive.
Transformative even.
Yeah.
Huge convenience, streamlining daily life.
But also these really significant questions: security, privacy, reliance, accuracy.
Absolutely. Hopefully this deep dive drawing on that Forbes piece gives you, our listeners, a clearer picture of what's coming. The potential is huge, but so are the things we need to think about carefully.
It's definitely technology to watch, and you have to wonder, with Alexa already in so many places, is Amazon just perfectly positioned to make this happen first on a mass scale?
It's a strong position, no doubt.
And what does that future really look like day to day? Something to chew on. Well, if this deep dive into Amazon's Nova Act got you thinking, please do hit like and subscribe for more explorations like this. And let us know in the comments what other topics or sources should we tackle next.
We often talk about tech that can, genuinely make life easier. You might find links to some related smart home devices or services down in the show notes.
That's right. And just so you know, as affiliates, we might earn a small commission if you decide to buy something through those links. It helps us keep making these deep dives.
It does indeed.
Thanks for joining us, and stay tuned for our next deep dive.